Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to the dceu Daily with more Snyder Cut discussion. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad, so please do that and come and have a chat and tell me your thoughts about Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. You know what? I'm finding this whole situation over on Twitter really amusing. I'm remembering the reaction to Man of Steel. I'm remembering the reaction to BVS and the fight we had on our hands. And to see the positive reaction to this film, Zack Snyder's Justice League, is insane. All right, there's always going to be a couple of shitty people with a couple of shitty takes, like the woman who said she wants 6 Birds of Prey sequels, and Idris Elba playing this and that, and saying that the Snyder Cut was unwatchable in its first hour. Well, if I remember rightly, wasn't it the first hour we saw the history lesson? Or is it unwatchable because there was lots of character development? Anyway, I don't want to debate with you people because it's not worth it. Anyway, the positivity is quite amusing to me. The more famous the people talking so positively about Zack Snyder and this movie, it just makes me laugh out loud so much. The Snyders have won. We have won bigger than we ever thought we were ever going to. And that's just insane to me. It's just an amazing time, really. People are going nuts about this film. Gail Simone has watched this film 3 times now, and she can't stop glowing about it. Anyone who doesn't think we've already restored the Snyderverse must be insane. Listen to me. This is how studios and big companies work. And you know already, you don't need me to teach you anything or to talk down to you or to lecture you. Big companies react to the public perception and what the media is saying. After Man of Steel and BVS, there was a reaction, especially after BVS, where they decided to try and persuade Zack to do a movie he didn't want to make, right? Then they forced him off the production because of the reaction. What do you think is going to happen after this reaction? This is the biggest turnaround in opinions in Hollywood history. But I want to discuss the film a bit more, and I want to discuss sequels. One of the things I think is going to be vitally important, whether this happens in a Justice League 2, which I doubt because Justice League 2, according to Zack, is supposed to be focused predominantly in the nightmare future, but certainly in a Man of Steel sequel, right? I won't say Man of Steel 2 because I'm just going to get comments saying, we've already had Man of Steel 2. I get it, and I agree, right? One of the things the film doesn't have is the reaction from the media in the film, the reaction from the public about Superman rising again. I think this would be a perfect theme to deal with in a Man of Steel movie, in a Man of Steel sequel. I want to see the reaction. I want the public saying, and the media saying, how is this guy still alive? And for that to be an issue, and for people, some people to embrace him being back, and some people not embracing him coming back. Because if Superman can't be killed, what does that mean for society? What does that mean for the human race? And if we focus on the Codex at the same time, where Superman has, the DNA of over 1 billion Kryptonians in his system, right? And someone extracts that outside of him, and then we've got all these Kryptonians, then the fear of Superman will be a lot huger. And I think that will be an amazing way to deal with a sequel. And that's what I would do if I was in charge. And obviously, I'm never going to be in charge of a DC live-action property. Lucky for you lot, right? But I do think Superman's rebirth has to be addressed. Clearly, there's no time in the Justice League movie, either in Justice League or Zack's movie, to address that situation. They're busy fighting Steppenwolf. And so there wasn't time to really address that. So I think it's perfect for a Superman movie. And I would imagine Zack's going to have a go at this. Zack's going to be able to use Superman again. Look, we need a Henry Cavill Superman movie, and it's the worst kept secret in Hollywood. That's what we need. We shouldn't have to fight for this. And one of the kind of great consequences of the success of the Snyder Cut is maybe Zack having easier kind of access to doing whatever he wants. Where before in the build-up to this film, he was saying, well, I'm busy, let's see what happens. Now he says he really is holding out hope to do a Justice League sequel. So that's really exciting. As I say, I think Zack's in a position now with John Stankey and AT&T. Forget Warner Media, Warner Brothers, not important. But with John Stankey, the leader of AT&T, where he's going to be able to do what he wants. Now, we've already heard from Zack that they were trying to police what he was going to put in his Snyder Cut movie, even after they greenlit it. And I would assume that, the wording from Zack is Warner Brothers, the studio. So I'm assuming all Zack had to do when he was having problems like that is call Stankey, call head office at AT&T. Look, they're giving me trouble here. Can you help me? And probably Stankey would get onto them and say, look, Toby, leave him the fuck alone, right? Let him do what he wants. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut is the movie that he wanted to make. And so I'm happy about that. And I want this Snyderverse expanded upon. And one of the most important projects is this Henry Cavill Superman movie that we've been dying to see since 2013. And it's something that Henry Cavill himself has been talking about and what kind of movie he would like. This is part of the problem as well. I think we should be lucky that Henry has put a big fight with Warner Brothers Pictures and the kind of movie he wanted. That's why they were leaking crap about him wanting more money. Maybe he did. He deserves more money. He is Superman. Ben Affleck made more money than him in BVS and in Justice League because he's Ben Affleck and he's Henry Cavill. But Henry Cavill's already proven with The Witcher he can put butts in seats. He brought people to Mission Impossible Fallout as well. This is a guy, because of Superman, that he's actually one of the few superhero actors right now who can pull people into other projects he does. The Witcher has proved this. When you look at people like the Avengers actors, well, we saw Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Dolittle flop. And even he, someone who's played Chaplin, someone who's an iconic actor, can't pull people that love him as Tony Stark into his other projects. But Henry Cavill can already do this. So this is a great head start for Henry. We know Henry is desperate to do this Superman movie, and we're desperate for him to do it. There's so many projects out there where fans are saying we want this, we want that. Of course, we want it all. We're going to have to wait and see. There's the Justice League sequels. I would imagine that's a priority. I think a Batman and Joker movie could be very interesting. I think people are very excited after what they saw from the Snyder Cut in the nightmare future between Affleck and Leto. And so there's a lot of interesting ways you can go at it. But certainly for a Man of Steel sequel, I would like to see the death and the rise of Superman kind of dealt with. Because I think it's important that there's a reaction from the public and the media in the story about his return. You can't bury it under the carpet, right? Because this is such a different death and return of Superman to what we saw in the comics all those years ago. It's got to be addressed in some way. And of course, you've still got the Justice League sequels to do. He's still wearing black. So Zack's got, in Zack's sequels, ultimately in the end, he will be wearing the blue again. And that's important to get there. That's part of this Superman arc. We started with Man of Steel. People are saying to me, normies are saying to me, why is he wearing black at the end of the film? We wanted to see him embrace the blue again. That would have been awesome. But that is at the end of Justice League 3. Or maybe Justice League 2. I don't know. Now, we do see him in the blue in the cliffhanger scene in the nightmare sequence, which is interesting considering he's pretty much evil there because he's succumbed to the anti-life equation. So there's so much potential here. And it's going to be interesting what gets greenlit first. There's rumours of a Wonder Woman 3. That really interests me. I would be high-fiving everyone and punching the air if Zack actually gets Wonder Woman 3. As I say, the studio are not happy with Wonder Woman 84. And I still find it very interesting how they greenlit Patty to do another movie. But I never believed that greenlighting. For me, it was a desperate move to try and say to people, look, have confidence in this movie. We have. Keep on watching it. I think it was one of those things. We know from experience that WB Pictures greenlights a lot of stuff that never happens just to create a move. And this goes for the Superman that J.J. Abrams is producing. Anything. We will see what happens. We all remember the Steven Spielberg DC movie that never was, right? So since the DCEU has been active, we've seen many, many projects greenlit and never happened. Where's the Plastic Man movie, right? And so we know they make announcements for effect. We know that they were trying to take the attention away from the Snyder Cut and onto their own properties. Look, there's no question about it. WB Pictures and Toby Emmerich are in a really uncomfortable and envious position. Snyder complicates matters for them. He does. Because they've got this central universe now. They're doing Flashpoint. They're doing this. They're doing other things. What do they do with the problem? The problem isn't for us. Zack isn't a problem to us. The Snyderverse isn't a problem to us. But it's a problem to them. Because how do they do this? It's easy, of course, to have a Snyderverse. And I spoke in my review how Zack kind of sets it up in his film that this is a totally different universe than the central DCEU. Because already you can see, as I said yesterday, you've got William Dafoe with long hair. You've got Amber Heard's Mira with that really posh voice. Oh my God, she's even hotter in that posh accent. I love Amber Heard. I don't care. I don't care what you think of her. I don't care if she's oh my God. And if she really is a baddie, that makes her even hotter. Joking. Don't send me to social media prison, please. But Amber Heard. Anyway, and so it's a different universe. It certainly is a different universe. Well, it looks like a different universe. There are differences there. But it's very interesting now how this studio deals with this. Is it too late to stop the central DCEU train? You know, it is kind of too late, isn't it? Because David F. Sandberg is going to work with Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Flashpoint will start shooting very soon. These things cannot be stopped. They're going to happen. So then you have to ask the question, what happens to the Snyderverse if it is restored? I believe it's already restored. Well, you just allow Zack to do his thing. And basically, it is a cul-de-sac. It is a cul-de-sac to nowhere, but in the best way possible. It's in its own universe. It has nothing to do with what they're doing and what their plans are. And if they have restored the Snyderverse or do restore the Snyderverse, this is going to be a big win for DC. Not just because of the Snyderverse, but because of what they're doing in their central universe. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad will hit big. Matt Reeves' The Batman will hit big. Everyone's going to be interested in Flashpoint with the kind of people that are going to be in that movie. So there's interest there. And then you've got this movie that people are calling the best DC movie of all time. This is not from you and me, diehard obsessive DC Snyderverse fans. The normies are saying that. The normies, my brother's been on to me this morning, loving it. Brilliant. I want sequels. These are from normies who are not diehards. You know, the type that say, I love the MCU and the DCEU, that kind of thing. So this is a bigger win than we ever imagined, and it's so huge. And this is a film that I tried to watch a second time, but I kept on getting interrupted yesterday. I want a full viewing of it without stopping it. But the more I'm going to watch it, the more I'm going to want to talk about it. I mean, I've only seen it once properly, and I'm in awe of it. I mean, even yesterday when I attempted to watch it for the second time, the opening is so freaking amazing. I think it's an amazing opening. And I just think the whole film is so unique. You can't take an element of the film and say, well, I didn't like that, because I can't do that. It's also fascinating. Brilliant. And we're on a busman's holiday right now where, we're surfing the waves of our fight to get this film released. Because it's not just about getting this film released. It's loving this film. Imagine if we fought for this and it was nothing that Zack said it was. That would have been heartbreaking, right? But it's everything and more. Zack was telling us the truth, which we knew because we trust Zack, right? We adore him as a creative and as a person. He's an honest guy. He wouldn't send us into this rabbit hole if what he was saying wasn't accurate. Some people were saying that Snyder was lying. that his film was just the same film as the 2017 film. We knew that was not true. And to see this film, a film we fought for, and to have that feeling that we actually fought for something so good that everyone's saying, wow, this is so dope. And it is. It's amazing. And there's so many discussions going on. There's a few articles I'm going to read to you because it's sensational. Batman's nightmare team in Zack Snyder's Justice League explained by Andy, whose surname I can't pronounce. Zack Snyder's Justice League has revealed who is on Batman's team in the Nightmare team, as Earth has only a few remaining fighters left. Zack Snyder's Justice League goes further into the nightmare future that awaits the heroes, while also revealing more about Batman's team. Ever since Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, Snyder has been setting up a grim future for the DC universe that he created. The 2016 film gave fans a glimpse of the coming reality that will be caused by Darkseid's invasion of Earth, that also has Superman turn against humanity. The Nightmare arc was going to be an overarching plot for the Snyder's Justice League trilogy. While sequels are currently off the table, the 4-hour HBO Max film gave more insight into the apocalypse-fueled future for Earth. Nothing, Andy, and I say nothing, is off the table. And if you really think that's the truth, you're half asleep. The film officially reveals through a vision Cyborg has that Wonder Woman and Aquaman would be murdered by Darkseid himself. But it didn't stop there as Lois Lane met her fate. That has been a fact for years as she got killed by Darkseid's Omega Beam. That is how the villain manages to take advantage of Superman, by making him succumb to the anti-life equation. Together they make Earth another defeated planet in Darkseid's ever-growing collection. But towards the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Bruce Wayne is revealed to be working with a few remaining heroes, as well as a few longtime foes of his. While Bruce's latest nightmare vision is obviously in the midst of that arc, it does establish that heroes and villains have come together for common cause. What has likely happened at that point is that they had other allies that have either been killed or defected. Should Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 happen in the future, more context and explanations will thankfully be given, because the Nightmare story is something fans have waited years to see fully. But until that day comes, this is every member of Batman's Nightmare team that was presented in the Snyder Cut. Batman. Bruce is definitely the leader of this team. Alongside Wonder Woman, he was one of the main heroes who created the Justice League. Batman was essentially the first hero to learn about this future and has done the most to try and prevent it from happening. Despite stopping Steppenwolf and bringing Superman back to life with the team, it wasn't enough to halt this reality from still unfolding. While she doesn't appear, Batman does confirm that Harley Quinn had died in his arms, alluding to the possibility that she was another member of his squad. Do you know what? I love the fact that Harley Quinn wanted Batman to kill Joker. I think that's brilliant. And he's actually telling him that. I like that scene because they're literally having a cussing competition to see who can break the other one first. So, Cyborg. Victor Stone became one of the new members to join the Justice League, but is one of Earth's last standing forces in the future. Since Victor became Cyborg through a mother box, it makes him a huge power player in the Nightmare future. Despite having Superman against them, Batman is lucky to still have Cyborg alive and fighting at his advanced abilities to give them a lot of advantage. Just like with another member of Batman's team, Victor is incredibly important to help Earth get another chance from stopping Darkseid and Apocalypse from taking over their world. The Flash. Besides Bruce's first premonition in Batman v Superman, the Flash was the first character to help flesh out the coming arc when he went back into the past to warn Batman. As Snyder has made it clear, Barry Allen was always going to be an important component to undoing the Nightmare future by travelling back in time. Together with Batman's help, the cosmic treadmill would be created so Flash could time travel and warn the heroes so they could stop the Apocalypse future from ever happening. Barry, out of all of them, is imperative to help rewrite the future, since his death would cost them their chance to go back in time. But obviously, that warning to Batman didn't stop anything, did it? But it does give Batman prior knowledge, I suppose, and an advantage in this Nightmare future, I suppose. Mira. Since Cyborg's own nightmare glimpse showed Aquaman being murdered by Darkseid, it makes sense for Mera to be a member of this team. Based on her appearance, Mera clearly became the Queen of Atlantis sometime after the events of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Given Mera's own history with the forces of Apocalypse, it's rewarding in the sense that she's here not only to avenge Arthur, but also get another round against the new gods, and now Superman. Based on their banter, it's obvious that Bruce and Mera are bound to clash from time to time. Love it. I'm glad it was a great idea to actually add her in. This was Snyder's decision, remember? All you lot going on about Amber Heard. Zack Snyder decided to bring her back. Why, if you're that strongly against the girl, right, why don't you speak out against this decision? Because it's a good decision, and it doesn't matter what kind of person she is in the real world. First and foremost, she's an actor. That's what we should care about. How she represents her character in these movies. Pretty damn well. Deathstroke. One of Batman's biggest villains is given his due, not only in a cameo during the present time, but also a part of the nightmare future. Whatever happened after Lex Luthor told Slade Wilson's Batman real identity and before their alliance years later remains to be seen. Obviously, Batman and Deathstroke are putting their differences aside in order to reclaim Earth. But it doesn't change the fact that Slade is still a mastermind of a villain who could easily have an agenda despite siding with the remaining Justice League heroes. That's true. The Joker. While Zack Snyder's Justice League was originally never supposed to have Joker, Jared Leto got to reprise the iconic DC villain for a single scene. But it was one that was crucial, not just of the Nightmare story as it went further into Batman and Joker's long-running history. At this point, Joker has learned that the Dark Knight is none other than Gotham City's famous playboy billionaire. It's unclear when Joker actually joined the team, but it's established that Batman somehow needed him. Snyder has even referenced that Joker helped build the cosmic treadmill by stealing a mother box. It doesn't stop Joker and Batman from still having the intense relationship that they have always had. From the clown prince of crime bringing up the dead Robin to Bruce hitting Joker's nerve by bringing up how Harley begged Batman to one day kill her old flame. I just love that. I could just imagine Margot doing that. Slowly, their partnership is not without difficulties, but to see both Joker and Deathstroke having joined the heroes shows how desperate they are as villains must have been once Darkseid took over Earth. Given their respective long history with the Caped Crusader, it must be nerve-wracking for the other heroes to have to work with Deathstroke and Joker knowing what they are capable of. Do you know what's really interesting about this is how Snyder killed off Harley? It's clear that it would never have happened. Margot wasn't going to be part of this universe, so fuck it, I'm just going to kill you off, right? Because if I'm going to do this Justice League 2, you're not going to be alive, you don't want to do it, you don't want to be part of this, so I'm just going to kill you off. And then she's kind of Harley in the central DC universe. Whether the Harley from David Ayer's Suicide Squad is the same Harley from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, she doesn't have to be. But also, don't forget, this is in the future anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Despite this being just a taste of the nightmare scenario, Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and Zack Snyder's Justice League 3 will be able to go further into that. Who else was on the team? Who wasn't convinced to join Batman on this crusade? How many died before they were only 6 standing? Where was Martian Manhunter, who seemed to hint to Bruce that he also knew of the nightmare future that was coming? There are so many unresolved questions with the nightmare arc, and hopefully Zack Snyder's Justice League will lead to a continuation of the franchise. Andy, whose surname I can't pronounce, I bloody well hope so, because people are losing their shit in a positive way about Zack's Justice League movie. And for a fan like me, who's been the converted from day one, it's a beautiful thing to see. But this nightmare future, having a Justice League 2 predominantly in this nightmare future, is something we're all desperate to see. So please, green light it! This is an interesting one from Zack. Zack Snyder confirms he talked to Adam Driver about a DC movie role. Zack Snyder confirms he talked to Adam Driver about a DC movie role, presumably for Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, but it wasn't Nightwing, by Cooper Hood of Screen Rant. Zack Snyder confirms he talked to Adam Driver about a DC movie role in the past, presumably for Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Snyder kicked off his time with DC in 2013 with Man of Steel, which saw the director cast Henry Cavill as the latest live-action version of Superman. He was surrounded by a great cast that included Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane and Russell Crowe. When it came time to make his follow-up film, Snyder assembled another stacked cast for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The sequel featured the debut of Ben Affleck as Batman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and introduced the rest of Snyder's Justice League cast with cameos. This allowed Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice to tease Jason Momoa as Aquaman, Ezra Miller's Flash, and Ray Fisher's Cyborg, and Jesse Eisenberg was cast as the film's main villain, Lex Luthor. And Snyder brought Holly Hunter, Jenna Malone, Scoot Neri, and many more aboard. These actors weren't the only people considered for their individual parts in the most cases, and fans spent plenty of time speculating what roles the confirmed cast members would play. One rumour that circulated at the time was that Adam Driver was in contention to play Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing. Now that Zack Snyder's Justice League is streaming on HBO Max, Snyder is taking questions about all aspects of his overall vision for the DCEU. In a recent interview with MTV News, he was asked about some of these past rumours. Snyder was asked to comment if Driver as Nightwing was ever in consideration for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And the truth is somewhere in between, he said. I did talk to Adam Driver about a role, but it wasn't Nightwing, confirming their discussions were about a different DC role. Even though Snyder didn't confirm what role he spoke to Adam Driver about playing, it isn't too difficult to figure out Driver was rumoured to be in the mix for Lex Luthor. Yeah, I was about to say that. You spoiled it for me. I was going to sound really clever then. Lex Luthor prior to Jesse Eisenberg being cast. Driver is the same age as Eisenberg and was on the cusp of becoming a massive star thanks to his role as Ben Solo, Kylo Ren in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Shall I be honest with you? I think Adam Driver would have been a fucking amazing Lex Luthor. I honestly do. I mean, Jesse killed it. He was amazing. And I think Adam would have done an equally great job. It's possible that Driver's anticipated schedule with the new Star Wars trilogy is one reason why he wasn't able to join the cast of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice after Eisenberg's unique performance as Lex Luthor. It is fascinating to consider what Driver could have brought to the role instead. One major difference with his casting would have been Driver's ability to make Lex more of an imposing figure physically with his 6'2" build. This version of Lex Luthor could literally look Batman and Superman in their eyes. Since Driver ultimately lost out on the role and didn't join Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice or another DC project, he likely missed his chance to work with Snyder in a superhero property. Not necessarily. Nobody knows what this future holds. And what the future holds. This industry makes fools of people who say this won't ever happen. I mean, come on. How many people said the Snyder Cut wouldn't happen? Do you remember all the smart artists saying, nothing will happen after the Snyder Cut? You wait and see what happens. And one certain person blocked me because I mocked him because he kept on saying, won't happen. Cyborg movie would never work, blah, 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 blah. By the way, before we go on with other articles, let's talk about a Cyborg movie. I think it's really funny how these smart artists keep on saying, a Cyborg movie wouldn't work. Did you see Cyborg in Zack Snyder's Justice League? To be fair to you and balanced, you didn't see what Zack did before you saw the Snyder Cut. But still, to say with such authority that Cyborg wouldn't be great in the movie is a ridiculous thing to say. And to say, well, he's not popular enough. Do you know how many characters weren't that popular before they had their own movies and then became popular? So many. So that's an irrelevant thing. People are saying to me, I didn't really like Cyborg before I saw him in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's right. Zack and Chris Terrio did a great job. And of course, Ray Fisher performed the role so brilliantly. So there's so much potential for a Cyborg movie. When you think about his abilities and what he's fighting against all the time, something special could happen here. So hopefully, what I would like with the Snyderverse is for Zack to build out a big team for this verse so he can work on certain properties. He can write certain others with other writers and get other directors to do the stuff that he can't do because he's doing A. Do you understand? This is what I really want to see once we do restore the Snyderverse. That this is a massive DC universe that gets expanded. So Zack does his thing. Then he works with other people to do their thing in the universe. It could be massive. You're asking me, if that happens, what's the point of Hamada's universe? Well, I'll let you decide that. Why Zack Snyder kept his name attached to Justice League theatrical cut? Well, this is an interesting one. Haven't read this. I don't read any of the articles I read out to you before we do it together. So let's have a look. This is by Xavier Ilias. Ilias! You Greek, mate? You Greek Cypriot? Pleased to meet you. After the release of the Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, the filmmaker speaks about why he kept his name attached to the film's theatrical cut. Coming off the release of Zack Snyder's highly anticipated director's cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, the filmmaker spoke about why he kept his name attached to the film's theatrical cut. The original Justice League came out in theatres in 2017 to mixed reactions from both fans and critics. Snyder had completed principal photography when his daughter tragically died by suicide, leading the director to step down from the project. He was replaced by Joss Whedon, fresh off his departure with Marvel Studios after the lukewarm reception of Avengers Age of Ultron. Whedon was tasked with completing the film's post-production, but at the behest of Warner Brothers, ended up shooting additional scenes and making more dramatic changes to Snyder's original film than many initially thought. Leading up Justice League's theatrical release, there were some questions as to who would be credited as the film's director. Eventually, it was revealed that Snyder would hold the sole director credit on the film, with Whedon only receiving a credit for its screenplay. Despite that, both fans and critics noted how the theatrical cut of Justice League did not feel like a traditional Snyder project, and many of Whedon's trademark cinematic quirks were strewn throughout the film. However, as per the DGA's rules, it wouldn't have been possible for Whedon to get credited as the sole director of the film, as Snyder had completed principal photography himself. Very true. Still, many wondered how Snyder himself felt about being credited as the sole director, considering the film felt so far removed from his typical style. Speaking to MTV News, Snyder discussed his decision to leave the name attached to the theatrical cut of Justice League. When asked if Snyder had thought to keep his name off of Justice League, the filmmaker remarked, but he doesn't think he ever considered taking his name off the film. Snyder argued that at the time, it just didn't seem important. He wanted to honour the hard work his crew put into the film. He also stated that he never saw the theatrical cut, which might have changed his opinion on leaving his director credit on Justice League. Check out his full comment below. Did I fight it? I don't know if I even thought about it. I mean, in retrospect, maybe that would have been a thing I could have done. But my friends were all in it, and everyone worked so hard, I never saw it. Maybe if I had seen it, I might have wanted to take my name off of it. Zack, I can promise you 150%, mate. If you saw that shit, and what's worse, that he put your scenes, your art, your beautiful art, in that shitty movie, you would have been fighting to get your name off of it. Your name being on it is a disgrace. And I think Warner Brothers right now should take your name off of it and put that horrible person's name on it so he can finally take full credit. But we're the fans and we're not dumb. We know you had nothing to do with that movie apart from your scenes that they put in there, and it's a disgrace. The differences between Whedon and Snyder's version of Justice League are stark. With the release of Snyder's cut on HBO Max, the general public can finally see what Snyder's vision was. Snyder's version, although being criticised for its 4-hour runtime, who's criticising that? Has been overwhelming and considered to be superior to the theatrical cut, addressing many of the complaints fans and critics levelled against it back in 2017. Even if Snyder had decided to take his name off of the theatrical cut of Justice League, it was unlikely that Whedon would have received the director's credit due to the DGA's rules. Well, can I just say something? Someone had to be credited as the director. Chances are that the film's director would have been credited as Alan Smithee, which is historically what happens when a director pulls their name off a project. That's stupid. This industry's fucking off its nuts, innit? What happens when a director pulls their name off of a project? In the name of solidarity with those he worked on the project with, it's understandable why Snyder made the choice to keep his name on the project. Despite how different it ended up being from his original vision, however, we no longer have to guess what that vision was, as Zack Snyder's Justice League is readily available for viewing on HBO Max, baby. If it were me, I wouldn't want to watch that piece of shit that Whedon did, but if it were me, I'd watch it. And watching 10 minutes, I'd be calling, "Oi! Warner Brothers, take my damn name off that film." That'd be me. Let me know in the comments down below what you would have done if you were Zack Snyder. Well, looking for the next article I'm going to read to you, I just saw that Gail Simone tweet again. I'm watching the Snyder Cut for the third time. I love it. Capitals, love it. Amazing. Because I think the last person we thought would fall in love with this movie would have been Gail Simone. And if Gail was loving this film, it's amazing. We've restored the Snyderverse. It's so obvious. So let's go on. Where are we? Yes, let's talk about the wonderful composer, Junkie XL. And he's talking about why he redid the whole soundtrack. And I must say, it is one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard, especially for a comic book movie. So let's have a look. Look, let me just say this. I love the work of Zimmer and Junkie XL. I love it for Man of Steel. Well, it was Hans who did Man of Steel. Then Junkie and Hans did BVS. And then Junkie's had this opportunity to do this one on his own. And you're talking about scoring a 4-hour movie. What an achievement. Original Justice League composer explains why he wrote a whole new score. Tom Holkenborg, Junkie XL, returned to score Zack Snyder's Justice League and explains why he ended up scrapping his first score and writing a new one. The newly released Zack Snyder's Justice League contained a score written by original composer Tom Holkenborg. Holkenborg returns with a completely fresh palette, having scrapped all previous work he had done on the film's music. Considering he had finished half of the score back in 2017, the decision to start from scratch certainly seems a drastic one and deserving of a reason. No, it's his decision. He doesn't have to give anyone a reason, mate. Who did this article? Kitty Richardson. After Snyder left the production of Justice League in 2017 following the sudden death of his daughter, Buffy the Vampire Slayer Joss Whedon swooped in to complete his vision. Snyder, however, was not the only person to be replaced during this post-production regime, as Whedon employed film music superstar Danny Elfman to restore the film. Holkenborg, better known by his stage name Junkie XL, has worked with Snyder on his previous superhero movies, including Justice League precursor, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. He is quickly becoming a well-known blockbuster name, with other credits including 300, Rise of an Empire, Divergent and Deadpool. An online campaign to revive Snyder's vision for the film along with Holkenborg's score began after Whedon's Justice League tanked in the box office and left fans craving Snyder's unique touch. In a recent roundtable interview captured and published by Comic Book, Holkenborg reveals that his decision to wipe the slate clean was due to multiple factors. When listening to his original score from 2017, he could not help but be reminded of an upsetting time for himself and the rest of the team. It's also important to note that the Snyder Cut is being released 4 to 5 years after production started, and Holkenborg felt that his original score does not aptly reflect his current musical capability and wanted to provide Snyder and the fans with the best he had in him, he explained. I thought I grew so much as a composer in the last 4 or 5 years, working with all these great directors, Robert Rodriguez, James Cameron, Peter Jackson, George Miller, Tim Miller, that I really thought when I saw the film that Zack was editing now demanded the best of what I potentially had to offer. Holkenborg has 6 months to write a brand new 4-hour original score involving previously conceived musical ideas by his mentor and partner, Hans Zimmer, from the first 2 movies in the Snyder-helmed DC trilogy, along with brand new ones. Holkenborg's process was a very free one due to the particular and somewhat unusual circumstances of the film's release. He went on to explain. Snyder said, "Keep in mind when you start that the shackles are off," which basically meant that whatever my vision together with Zack was going to be the final vision, and there was no interference of studio and producers on this particular film, which, as some of you know, is extremely unique. While the Whedon cut and Snyder cut both follow the same basic plot, the Snyder cut makes changes and adds scenes which provide the necessary context that Whedon was missing. And while Elfman's score was in no way a bad one, Holkenborg's return to the project allowed Snyder to release a film more faithful to his original vision, involving Holkenborg's electrifying rock score in all its glory. Zack Snyder's Justice League is now available on HBO Max. Junkie XL is amazing. His music is amazing. The part he played in BVS with the music and the score is amazing. And to think that Whedon replaced him with Danny Elfman is outrageous. We all know that Danny Elfman is an iconic musician. There's no question about that. And his score is serviceable, but, you know, that's a very aggressive decision. Now, I can kind of defend Joss with certain things that happened. The 2-hour version of the film, that the schedule he had to work under was grueling and it would have put pressure on anyone. But this, there was no need to change the score. But, of course, they decided to because they wanted to change the tone. Josh Planis of Screen Rant writes, Jared Leto explains how Justice League's Joker is different to Suicide Squad. It'll be interesting to see what he says. Jared Leto talks about working with different directors and the evolution of his Joker from Suicide Squad to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Jared Leto explains the difference between Suicide Squad's Joker and the one in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Following 2017's critically panned Justice League, the pop culture phenomenon known as the Snyder Cut represents redemption for the DC Extended Universe. Snyder's 4-hour vision contains and fleshes out more characters than its theatrical counterpart. Perhaps the film's most unexpected addition is of Leto's Joker. Following legends like Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, the hype surrounding Leto's performance in David Ayer's Suicide Squad was unprecedented. Unfortunately, his incarnation received mixed responses due to creative decisions like on the nose tattoos reading "ha ha ha" damaged. For me, I didn't know that much about the tattoos, to be honest. I don't care. And it's weird how people lost their shit about things like that. Unfortunately, his incarnation received mixed responses due to creative decisions like on the nose tattoos reading "ha ha ha" damaged, and an ostentatious wardrobe attributable to a modern-day Scarface. After making his debut, Warner Brothers abandoned several plans they had for Leto's Joker and rebooted the character with Joaquin Phoenix, given DC's new creative direction. It's not a reboot. They're not the same Joker. It was a one-off movie. I don't know if they're going to do more, but, Jared and Joaquin Phoenix can both still play the Joker. They could team up together as the Joker because they're clearly from different universes. It's surprising to see more of the Snyderverse as it is to see a tattoo-less Leto wearing a jumpsuit and a SWAT vest covered presumably with the badges of police officers he's killed in Justice League's Nightmare timeline. During an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Leto was shown two photographs, one of his green-haired tattooed character from Suicide Squad and the other was Justice League's long-haired, darker version. Leto was then asked to comment on the differences between those two people or whether or not they're a continuum of the same character. I think it's an evolution. They're some years apart, explained Leto. When you collaborate with somebody, when you work with a different director, it brings out different things, or they bring out different things in you. So I loved working with Zack Snyder. I loved his passion, and he knows more about this world than almost anybody. In the interview, Leto can be seen wearing a "We Live in a Society" shirt, proceeds going to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's really amazing, isn't it, how supportive Leto is being of the charity, of the Snyder Cut, and him and Snyder are going to work together in the DC universe. Again, I'm going to assure you of that. Which pays homage to the meme-related line Leto ad-libbed in one of the trailers for Snyder's Justice League. Leto went on to express how grateful he was to be able to return to the role, while Colbert alluded to the possibility of further expansion. The film's various plot threads, cliffhangers, and the character's evolution certainly leave room for it. Justice League's nightmare sequence takes place several years in the future, given its post-apocalyptic nature, provoked by Darkseid, his apocalyptic invaders, and the anti-life equation, and Superman. It makes sense for the Joker to stop dyeing his hair green and wearing nice clothes, especially since he was most likely incarcerated. Also, the tattoos are gone. It's not hard to imagine the Joker enduring a laser removal and his face is haphazardly caked in paint. Similar to Ben Affleck's Batman, the Joker has lost everything, with vigilantism and crime being a moot point in a burnt well. The scene between the two manages to cover a lot of ground without feeling contrived. Can you believe the actors didn't even film together? Yeah, it's amazing. Like mirror images of one another. But you know what? That comes from great directing and editing. It doesn't seem like they're not there together. It's a magical scene. And if Zack could have got them together physically, of course he would have done. And people they've lost right before a well-placed expletive and a truce card. It'll be interesting to see the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League has a chance of restoring the Snyderverse. It will, paving the way for multiple big-screen Jokers, an implied legendary team-up to save the world. Joker largely took a backseat to Margot Robbie's Queen in Suicide Squad, but in Justice League, with an aesthetic faithful to the character and Snyder's vision, he's arguably a scene stealing. It's interesting with David Ayer's vision for the Joker. I never lost my shit about it. I thought it was new. I thought it was vibrant. It worked for me personally. Am I going to say he's my favourite ever Joker? No. But I liked him as the Joker and I didn't lose my shit about it. But it's clear the audience, a lot of the audience, didn't like it. Even with a more expanded haircut, they're still going to see the tattoos and they're still probably not going to like it, but they're probably going to kind of warm to the performance a bit more. And I'm really fighting for the haircut as well, by the way. Release the haircut. It's part of restoring the Snyderverse. So I think that Zack felt, look, this is the nightmare future. This is a great opportunity to get rid of the stuff people didn't like. Because Zack's trying to restore the Snyderverse here. You don't want to keep on taunting people when you need them on your side. So Zack was very smart here to create a vision of the Joker that people could embrace. And I think a lot of people are saying, wow, he's amazing in this scene. And he absolutely is. But to be clear, I never minded Ayer's vision for the Joker. I think it's brilliant. I think it's fine. And I enjoyed what I saw. But I want to see more. And I want to see the haircut. It's nearly the end of another edition of the DCEU Daily. So let's close off this video by saying this. It's amazing what can happen when you fight for it and you stand up and say no. You say this is trash, we say this is great. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to enjoy it if you don't like it. We do. We want to see this man's universe. We want to see all of this stuff explored, and we thought, and something amazing has happened. An amazing film was released, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a massive success. Critically, commercially, I don't know how we're going to find out how well it's been doing on HBO Max, but I'm pretty sure it's doing well all over the world right now. People are renting it. People some places like India can actually buy it as well digitally, which is amazing. Now, here where I am, at this moment in time, I can't rent it and I can't buy it. And I'm not going to tell you how I was able to see it, but that's life. I couldn't see it. And I said to you, I warned you all before you start judging me. One thing's for sure, that I had to make a lot of phone calls the other day to even get to see this movie. So it was very, very difficult. And even that kind of messed up partially in the end, and I had to do something else. So at the end of the day, I did what I had to do to watch this movie. But this is a magical time. And however you got to see this movie, and by the way, just to clarify something, when I can buy and rent this digitally, I will buy and rent the fuck out of it. So I'm not actually doing anything fighting to restore the Snyderverse. I'm in a country, they didn't have it. I did what I had to do to watch it. But I'm an extremely happy bunny. And I am so happy that this film is loved by people. People like Miss Simone. Wow. A comic book legend. Isn't that amazing? It really is a happy time. I will be back tomorrow with more DCEU Daily. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the Snyder Cut. And I'll see you again soon.